Ashland's new highway and interchange have opened up land that was once overlooked, and developers are already seeing dollar signs. City officials see it too, but through the lens of lost tax revenue. So today, we're going to unlock that potential with a new residential neighborhood positioned right off the highway. Let's jump in and start sprawling. Alright, welcome back to Ashland, and today we're going to be building out some suburbs. We have a lot of unused space, and I really just want to get using some of it. Our budget has just been tanking lately, and a lot of it's just due to the fact that we bought all these tiles and they're squares, so we have tons of unused space. So with this new highway here, I think we can justify some new development, specifically some suburbs. We'll keep this really low density, very simple. It'll kind of spur off of our main arterial here. There's two important things to go over before we continue. I'm going to quickly open up our map tiles, and you'll see that I've made some adjustments. Nothing too big, nothing too crazy. These are all squares before, but I didn't want to go bankrupt just to buy these 3 tiles and maybe these 2. So I cleaned it up just a bit, if you can really call it that. I cleaned it up pretty poorly. I'm tempted to go and clean up a lot of these. I could pull most of these back, have it follow the terrain a bit more naturally. So let's say instead of this water being kind of all square tiles, the water could just be a little bit of chunks and sections. And instead of having to buy all this land, we could just have the land itself rather than these extra water pieces, because it's going to ruin us trying to develop like this. But I'm open to hearing what everyone thinks. If everyone says no, I'm perfectly fine with the way we're going. If people think it's a good idea, maybe we can convert these into triangles or half tiles. I don't know yet, but the trade-off is it'll take forever to do. So now, big shout out to Middleveen for pointing this out. We have a very big improvement to make here, and this is extremely important, and that is if you're coming from this way, how do you get onto the highway? You don't as of right now. I mean, I guess you could. It'd be a really sketchy left turn though. It would be either that, or you'd have to come all the way down the road and then do a U-turn somewhere, I guess. This is going to be an easy fix. We're just going to add in a road. So we're going to come right about here, and we'll turn on anarchy, pull this in, try and find a straight segment that we can attach this to. Now let's upgrade it and reverse the direction. There we go. Last but not least, we're going to tidy up our keys a tiny bit. And actually, let's quickly check our movements. So we're going to remove unsafe. No U-turns here, please and thank you. We're going to do the same thing for the other one over here. Straight road, fix the keys, and then just check our movements. Doesn't really look all that good, and it's kind of bugging me just a bit. So maybe we can spice it up with a few bushes. Yeah, that should, you know what, that should cover it up nicely. It doesn't look very good at all, but I'm not even sure if it looks worse or better. So now this one's kind of clipping under here. Yeah, and pretty much anything is better than just leaving it how it was before. So I think that's fine. The more I look at it though, the more I hate it. And I'm gonna walk away for now. And actually, you know, one more thing. We do have some new roads, and they're by Brian Roca. And essentially, it's just a bunch of roads that have more trees on them. I'll show you what I mean. So the trees itself, they have different separation versus the vanilla trees. The vanilla trees are every 25 meters, and these trees are every 12.5 meters. And I think it's going to look really, really nice for our suburban environment. So I'm thinking, let's upgrade these to mature. And yeah, that looks good. I'm wondering, what if we change out the trees to maybe the laurel fig trees? Okay, there we go. Nice. Weirdly enough, it only works when we use the radius tool. So I believe every time we interact with the network, yeah, the trees automatically change. I hope we can get them to stay, but if we can't, we'll just go with the vanilla trees. First thing we need to do now is buy out our tiles. And I think we're going to go with these 3 right here. Maybe this one, maybe later on. But for right now, we're just going to focus on these 3 right here. So we'll get these purchased, and that should do it. It's going to hurt, should put us back in the red quite a bit, but you know what? We can do something with this. We can bring some more revenue in by using this space. All right, to start off, let's get rid of all the trees. And then I'm thinking we could branch out our first road from here. So this is a cul-de-sac or a roundabout. And I'm thinking if we use anarchy, we could pretty much just stretch this all the way out to the highway. And then there's about one circle of kind of distance from the road and the highway itself. So we'll delete that. And then I'm wondering how a cul-de-sac would look if we place one right here. And not too bad, I kind of like it. And then we could take our tree-lined road and branch that out. Again, trying to keep out one circle if we can. From there, we can grab our highway, pull it down about one circle, pull it to the left, and then delete that little branch segment right there. And then we can just connect these two in and hopefully it kind of aligns with the curve. So we'll redo this part right here and we'll stretch it out to be actually one circle because I feel like we just missed it. Right there should do the trick. And then from here, we can add our cul-de-sac back in, grab our tree-lined road, and it's not 180, but it is a curve. So then we can come down at a 90 and then curve right in. Now let's connect this up with a straight segment and there we go. Okay, it looks a bit odd, but it might just work. Now, one of the problems I personally face when doing areas like this, I want to send this all the way through, all the way over, and then all the way down to meet back up with our arterial. And I'm just not sure if that's how this area would be developed. That would be a pretty solid connector road though, you got to give it that. And that's kind of why I want to do it. So I'm going to try it out and see how it looks. If it looks absolutely awful, then we'll make some adjustments. So we'll end our development one circle away from that kind of tile edge, and then we'll hit that with a cul-de-sac one more time. Bring our tree-lined road down all the way, trying to align with the tile's edge itself. And then we probably want to connect in somewhere along here. I'm going to turn on constant slope because there is a bit of a grade here or a bit of terraforming. And then I'll turn it back off because I don't want to do too much sloping here. And we'll send it kind of something like this right here. We'll chop off this extra piece and then we'll add in our cul-de-sac. Okay, and that definitely makes for an interesting design so far. And now let's just quickly go and change the age of these trees because I want to see how is it going to look. And with nothing else in here, it kind of feels like it's the forestry industry. And I'm getting stuck on the bumps. It's actually pulling me down and pulling me up. It's kind of funny. Let's just keep moving forward for now though. I think it'll probably look better once we have all our development in. I think the first thing to do here is mirror this road because it'll give us a nice even development. So we're going to make a few points. And then something like this should give me what I'm looking for in terms of the parallel road. So let's try this out. And would you believe it? It still looks bad. So I guess that's what I get for trying to be too complex about this. I could have just freeformed this and made it a lot more simple, which is what I'm just going to do right now. And then we'll just kind of curve in, and that actually looks way nicer. And same thing over here, except for this one will be a lot easier because it's pretty much a straight segment for a good part of it. And over here, we'll try and get one full circle, but if we don't get it, it's not a big deal. So we'll come up with something like that. We'll turn our curved road tool on, and then we'll snap right in. And there we go. It's a bit wonky in some places, but it's fine. Now, let's delete these extra connections because we'll add them back in afterwards once we know where all of our development is going to be. All right, and we need to start getting some of our local roads in. So we'll use the parallel mode. We'll go about 8 units. And I wonder, does this actually give us 8 units in between? So I'm going to count them out really quickly. 7, 8. Yeah, surprise, surprise. Wow, great detective work on my part. So now all we have to do is kind of just pull them out. And it looks like we'll need to actually pull it back just a bit. Or actually, here's what we'll do. We'll grab this point right here and we'll go on the opposite side. That should give us one circle. And then, yeah, exactly. We can follow along this side right here. And that should do. And then we'll grab our continuous curve tool. And maybe we'll do something like that. Or actually, I think maybe we should just start on the other side. Yeah, I can definitely see it a bit better here. So really what we're going to do is we're going to go up just a bit. Let's say 20 units, and I'll keep ground level on constant slope on. Let's see if that bites me later on. And then from here, we'll use the continuous curve tool and kind of just curve down and around. And that's perfect. We'll need to do some cleanup afterwards because I do want to make a lot of these cul-de-sacs and make sure we don't have too many through connections. Then we'll grab right here, come up, and something like this right here. I tried to keep about one full circle. So from here, I'm going to snap onto this grid right here. We'll send this kind of in. Delete that piece right there. And we'll grab our road again, add our cul-de-sac, and that's looking good. And then we'll just curve right in. There we go. Nice. Finally, we're getting something that looks cohesive. I love it. Now we need to measure out right about here. So this should do. And then we'll grab this point right here. Again, trying to remain that perfect circle, which is what we have. And we'll send this all the way out just a bit further. Cul-de-sac there. And there we go. Some more nice development. Now over here, I want to send a road in maybe on this side or even this one. Actually, no, this one right here, because then we can kind of do a gentle little curve right towards that middle edge. And then we can grab our cul-de-sac, place that right there. And we only have one problem, and that this road's just a bit too long for my liking. So let's break it up somewhere along here. Yeah, there we go. That works really well. And this is pretty much a solid, nice little development pattern. Lots of ending roads. I want to fix these though now. So maybe we can add one of these to be a cul-de-sac or even both. No, I don't like the idea of that. Honestly, I don't like the idea of any of those being a cul-de-sac. I think the grid right here would look nicer as long as we don't add the cul-de-sacs, because there's not like too much more room or housing or development that we can squeeze from there. So that's pretty much that area right there. I like the way it came out. And then now for this next section, we'll probably want another road coming somewhere from right about here-ish. So we'll do the same thing that we've been doing, and we'll try and maintain that full circle. We'll go straight, and we'll also have our parallel road tool on, and then we'll go up just a tiny bit. And then I think we could probably connect at least one of these roads into here. Perfect, that's exactly how I want it to be. And the only thing I'd want to see different here is that I want one of these roads to kind of end early or at least cut off. And then we can just add our little cul-de-sac back in. And then from there, maybe connecting into these two roads right here, something kind of like that. Yeah, that works. Perfect. And it's starting to look like a UFO crop field, kind of like there's aliens, but it works for me. I'm going to clean up some of the block lengths here just because they are a bit long. Yeah, that's already such a big improvement. Honestly, it looks really nice. All right, now let's pick up the pace and go back to the starting area that I was struggling with just a bit. Okay, and from here, I think I pretty much get how I want this to be. So we'll add in our measuring points again. I shouldn't have deleted them in the first place. And then we'll send this over, but we'll have our continuous curve tool on. And we'll come down just a tiny bit. We'll curve right back over. We'll pull these straight. And then we'll connect right in. And all we have to do from here is add a little road in the middle with a little cul-de-sac. And then again, it's a super long block length, so let's just shorten it up just a tiny bit. And then we'll grab this and we'll continue it down. And as far as I understand it, they designed suburbs to be confusing so that if you didn't live in the area, then you wouldn't go down the roads. And I want to make sure I'm embodying that. Like if you came down this road right here, you end up in a cul-de-sac, which is kind of good because you wouldn't go down this road unless you lived here or were getting onto one of these other roads. But that's besides the point. But I just wanted to say what I'm trying to embody here in terms of the design principle. Now I've got a solid understanding of how I'm going to finish this off. So I'm going to pick up the pace again. I'm going to stop yapping and I'm going to build out these roads. All right, there we go. That's pretty much the final design, except for a few minor tweaks that I want to make. I'm noticing we have some very long block lengths, like this one right here. So let's just go in and see if we can chop this up. Is there any more glaring issues other than those ones? Maybe one right here as well. And I'm trying to balance this as well, because I don't want to overdo it with the connectivity, because if I do, then I'm going to be breaking the whole entire point of why I made it like this in the first place. It's meant to feel disconnected, but I still do have a worry about those ambulances, about what if there's a fire, how are fire trucks going to service this area properly? But I guess it's kind of one of the downsides of this area. And I don't know if a downside would be the appropriate word to call it because of modern society and how well our services are, but still, it could be less unsafe than the area right across from it. Now, in the spirit of that, I'm going to add in our connectivity for our main arterial. I'm going to pull from the roads that have cul-de-sacs at the end of them. So that one right there, this one right here. And ooh, that does not look very straight, is it? No, it's not very straight at all. But you know what? It's fine. We can live with it. And last but not least, we do have a tiny bit of space over here that we might as well use. I probably won't go that far, but I will stick to our edge of our tile because I don't want to buy another tile right now until we're flowing in money. So again, we'll just parallel road tool this. And then we'll do something kind of like this so that the main road does have access to the park. And we'll delete this one right here, add our cul-de-sac back in. And then we'll just finish up the final connections here. Actually, this is a perfect time to see, does the wooden pier actually connect like a normal path? Oh, no, it doesn't. That would have been awesome if it did. I really like the idea of using it as a path. But now we need to add in all our paths because this area is pretty disconnected. I'm going to use the dirt path that we get from Road Builder. I'm pretty much just going to connect all of these areas up as best as I can. So for example, we'll grab somewhere right around here and then we'll curve it right into our arterial. And then we'll take this as well and we'll connect it into the side road over here. And then we're going to grab somewhere in the middle of this path and we're going to send it down back into this road above us. And then from there, we want to give another access point on this side, specifically because it's facing our arterial, so it's not too big of a deal. And we'll do the same thing on this side of the cul-de-sac, but obviously connecting to this road instead. And for our last one, let's grab right in the middle and send it to the other side. And that's pretty much what we're going to do for all of them. Okay, and there we go. I think that's pretty much it. It does improve connectivity significantly. There'll be a few gaps, but I think it's fine. This is to the point where if you lived here, you wouldn't be stressing out about coming down to this road. You just hop on the path and it's over, you're done, you're back on the road. The same thing with over here. If you lived here, you wouldn't stress out about going all the way down here, all the way around, and then all the way over here. Instead, you just hop on the path and you're good. I think we're pretty much ready to do some zoning. And for our zoning, we're going to be using our US Southwest residential. I know, probably a crazy surprise, but they're just going to fit in the best. And I almost kind of like that copy and paste look because I feel like that's kind of where this area would be. I'm going to plop all of these because if I don't, I'm going to get a few assets that I really don't want. Specifically, if we go to lot depth 4 and then we scroll all the way down, there's these ones right here. And I just don't think they fit very well with the area that I'm going for. So because of that, if I plop them, I don't have to worry about these spawning in. And I think for the most part, I probably don't want these ones either. They still kind of have that feeling that just doesn't fit in. The ones I do want are these ones, and I feel like they're going to look really nice all down here. And then I'm thinking that we won't actually zone anything on our arterial, but in the future, we could add some more medium density buildings along here, and I feel like that would work really well. And right now it's our arterial coming directly into our city, so I want to be careful with what we add to it, but I still feel like we can add some buildings on here very, very soon. All right, now let's speed this up and let's get started plopping. Okay, and we're pretty much done now. I didn't put any commercial in here, and I'm not going to either because this is meant to replicate like a North American suburb, and you just don't typically find commercial in these areas. I'm pretty much happy with how it turned out. I was a bit scared that this long block would just come out really badly, but you know what? It's actually not overly bad. I can live with it. It's pretty decent. And it's kind of funny. I wanted to see how long it took to plop. It took 51 minutes. It was a lot longer than I thought it would take. And it always is. But the result is also so much better. I'm almost tempted, and I kind of wish I did, to go back and just zone everything and see how it would look, but I don't have a save with only the roads, because I saved halfway through while I was plopping, so it's fine. But I would like to do a comparison sometime. Either way, most part, this is a pretty solid area. There's a few spots that I purposely left blank, and these will either be for parks or maybe services, but I really think just primarily parks. I did have to pause the game about halfway through because I realized we didn't have any services set up for this area, and I didn't want to see anything get too bad here. So let's start by giving this a district. And there's some extra room for schools right here or services, whatever it may be. And I also left just a tiny bit of extra space right here because I think it makes sense to have kind of a targeted connection go into our industrial park because we need some sort of access for workers here. My fear is that people will use this as a cut through and it's going to create traffic. Either way, let's grab a normal 2-lane road. And I think actually we'll turn this into a 4-lane road with trees and parking. And then we're just going to curve right into this road up here. There we go. Something like that should do the trick. And then we don't need a light here. It doesn't really make all that much sense. I'm kind of regretting this road now, but I've already committed to it, so I'll keep it here. Okay, and then we need to grab all of our services, whatever services serve the main Ashland. And we'll also add them to Sunnyside Crossing. And wow, there is a lot of services here. So also, do you have a better name for Sunnyside Crossing? If you do, comment it. I'm happy to add it in. Naming's not really my thing. Kind of stresses me out a bit. Okay, now before we continue with this again, Let's go take a look at our police station, which is right about here. Okay, so can we upgrade this with a building that might have a bit more capacity? And this one could just almost fit. We'd have to get rid of some of the housing and the commercial lots, which I don't really like doing, because it's essentially, if we have to acquire the property, then we have to bulldoze it. And we do have more space we could use. I just do want this to be central, but I don't know. I think let's take a look at our services first, and then we'll see if this is necessary or not. So we'll open up our police tab, and for the most part, our police coverage is actually really strong. So I don't even think this is something we need to worry about right now. The only places that we have a bit of issues with are up there, and of course our new area. So let's assign this small police station to our new area, Sunnyside Crossing. And then let's take a look one more time and see if we made things worse. And I mean, it's pretty much perfect. There's not much I can say here. If we see some police notifications pop up, then we'll definitely have to add another police station in. But for right now, I'm gonna let this simulate for a second and gonna see some traffic issues probably. Okay, and for the most part, everything seems to be going fine. But I wonder how many people actually live in Sunnyside Crossing. We probably could have checked this before. And about 1,500 homes. That's not too bad. And what are the biggest problems? Walking distance to elementary school. Okay, that makes sense. Unreliable healthcare and high crime rates. So yeah, that small police station didn't really cover it. And we're going to fix this stuff up right now anyways. So I think the first thing I want to start with is the school. Specifically our elementary school. And we do have a few different places that we could put this. We could have this more central to our residential or more central to our industrial. And I'm leaning towards more central to our industrial. I feel like it would just be a bit better in terms of fit. I'm worried that these plots just probably wouldn't be big enough for a school. We could just buy another tile and put it over there. But we're also negative $13,000 per hour, so we're in a pretty rough spot. And I believe this is our other elementary school right here. And yeah, it's maxed out. And we could just add the annex building. We could even take the annex building and put it over in our new area. But probably doesn't make the most sense because they still have to commute to that school over there, even if we move the annex building right here. Let's see, like we could get this one in here. We could get this one in here as well. And we could probably just barely make this one fit. Wow, this one fits surprisingly well. And this one fits as well. Huh. That's a bit of a tough choice. I do like the idea of going with this one because it feels like it would fit the area just a bit better. And it wouldn't be in the realm of impossibility to get it in here. But I also hate deconstructing assets. I find I can never make them look as good as they did before. So maybe we'll go up and place it somewhere right about here. You know, right off this road. They'd have good access to the road itself. We could span this area with trees and landscaping and just try and make sure that we're not creating an environment that's unsafe, I guess. I don't know if the trees would solve that though. I think, yeah, it has to go here. So we're gonna place it right here, but let's do a bit of terraforming first. I wanna pull this terrain back as much as I can without it being too dramatic, trying to create a level of separation between the school and the industrial. And now we'll grab our school, and we don't really have money either. So this is kind of dangerous, but we should be fine. And then we'll grab our alleyways, or maybe even a 1-lane road. Let's try this one out first. And can we make a direct connection into this little surface? So somewhere right there, come around, come back down. Yeah, it looks a bit goofy, so maybe we'll just snap to the side of the building instead. And then we'll come up right here, and the same thing on this side as well. And there we go. And now let's just re-upgrade it to fix its direction. Perfect. And then we'll also remove these lights. And now we only want the school to operate in Sunnyside Crossing. And I can't remember, is this enough to serve this entire area? So 1,000 students, and in Sunnyside Crossing, we have 658 children. So yeah, That's perfectly fine. It's actually more than enough, which is a very, very good thing. I'm noticing we have a crime scene over here that hasn't been resolved. Not really too excited about that. We could expand our police services if we had money, but our budget is just burning through the money. And if we take a look, it's mostly just our tile upkeep, a bit of our loan interest, and of course our service upkeeps. So we're negative $146,000 every month. We could increase some of our taxation, like our residential, to say 10%. I wouldn't want to touch anything else though. So let's do that. We'll set that to be 10%. We could drop some of our services, but again, that's something I really don't like doing. Okay, now let's add in some paths between the school. We'll probably need to nudge some houses over, but if it's for connectivity for the school, I say we do it. There we go. And really, my goal was to just hopefully remove the chances of kids having to walk on our big 4-lane road, because I don't know, it just seems a bit unsafe. It's a pretty big road and there's the industrial traffic. Now let's take a look. Unreliable healthcare coverage. Yeah, we can't really add anything else until we have more money, but I completely get where you're coming from, Sunnyside. I think now we'll move on to our parks, and then we'll just finish off with some trees. For our parks, it's looking pretty bad, but we can probably add 2 in the empty plazas that we have. So we have this one right here, and I thought about using the service gate for the park from Star Q, but I don't know. Every time I try and use it, maybe I'm just not creative enough. Maybe I need to spend a little bit more time trying this out, but I'm gonna try it out anyways, and we'll see what we get. Yeah, for now I think I'm gonna kind of just delete this. It's cool that we have all these leisure boosts though. I think in the future we definitely can use that. For now, this custom park is just gonna be a normal park. I do have a plan for a pretty big custom park coming up soon, and we'll probably need to rely on the mod heavily, but for right now, I think we can pretty much use almost any other park. And I've always been a really big fan of this one right here, so I think we can pretty much work this into the build as well. We'll place it right about here, and then I'm going to quickly replace the surface, otherwise it'll just drive me crazy with that weird little graphical glitch. And then let's just stretch this area across and connect it up to the road. And then we'll do the same thing over here, and we'll just connect it all the way over. And there we go. It's not amazing, it's not perfect, but you'd have one central way of crossing this area, which I kind of like. Now I actually want people to walk through here, so we'll use our invisible pedestrian path. And I think as long as we come close enough to those pillars, that means they're able to walk down it. I could just connect it all the way through, but I don't really want people walking through the basketball court because we're going to place some ploppable citizens there anyways. And then for our next park, we'll probably just use this playground, and it can pretty much be anywhere right here. I think we'll orientate it towards the left just a bit more, pretty much right here. And then we'll also add one of these in as well. And then we'll just grab these paths and pretty much just extend them throughout the park. And that's pretty much it for this area, or for this park specifically. What I want to add in that we only have one place left, is the community pool. I think it's a very underutilized community amenity, and I personally would love to have one near me. So I think we'll add it in right here, along with a bit of parking. Okay, and there we go. And this always trips me up a bit until you back out of the menu and realize the surface or texture is still there. Every single time it trips me up. But either way, I think it's a pretty good amenity. And it looks like we have a fire. Interesting. What place is servicing this area? So where is it coming from? Okay, so it must be coming from here. Oh, this doesn't have a district. It's not even assigned to any districts. Interesting. This might be something we want to do to try and make everything a bit more efficient. For right now, I'm not going to worry about it though. I just want to see, are they going to make it there in time? Because it's quite a distance. Oh, they're going to make it. They're going to make it. Nice. Oh, wow. Why is there so many houses burning down? Oh, it's the trees that are burning down. That makes a lot of sense. So if you have more trees, you increase your risk of fires. Come on, I know our fire trucks can handle this. We got the best fire department in town. It's the Ashland Fire Department. Okay, now before we move on to detailing, I noticed we have a bunch of lights here from where we connected in our new roads. So I'm going to remove those. One thing I really like, aside from this burned down muscle car, is the difference between Sunnyside Crossing and the main Ashland part of the city, I guess, if you can call it that. Main Ashland, I guess. I wanted this area to feel really flowy, super cohesive, with a mix of suburbs right there, but within Sunnyside Crossing, it feels like it's the opposite of this. It feels like it was developed way later. There's lots of roads that have dead ends. You're not really supposed to enter here unless you have a purpose. And it really sets it apart from the rest of Ashland. And I guess the main Ashland part of this town or city. So I think everything is looking good right now, and we might as well move on to detailing, and hopefully we'll get some more money because it looks like it's going up. So for the first part of detailing, I want to come in and just add some paths to these parks. I want to give some trees, add in some surfaces. That's pretty much going to be it. For the second part, it'll just be trees all throughout this area. I want to see a bunch of trees. And there we go. It is much better with the trees, that is for sure. I really like the way this neighborhood turned out. So now let's do a quick before and after. All right, and that is a wrap. As always, big shout out to our Patreon members, Ganger and Shant. If you'd like to help support the channel or check out Ashland for yourself, head over to Patreon. Other than that, thanks for sticking with me, and I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't already, a like, subscription, and comment really go a long way. And I'll see you in the next one.